Uh, I'm Ryan X. Charles. I'm co-founder and CEO of Yours. Yours is like Medium with a paywall. It's a social blogging platform where anybody can write an article with embedded audio, video, images, and with a twist, which is they can place a paywall inside their article at a location and price of their choosing. Although actually we can do a lot more than that. A paywall is just the easiest thing to explain. So I'll show you how we're improving the quality of content on the internet by getting people paid for creating and discovering good content. So we start with this problem, which is, first of all, there are creators on the internet, people that use social media platforms like Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, people that create good content that usually aren't earning any money at all, or if they're earning something, it's not very much. But also not just the creators, it's also the people that discover good content, the people that edit good content, the people that moderate good content. All these other people should be paid for their work if they're doing a good job too. On the flip side, we have a related problem, which is, why is it that a lot of the content on the internet is pretty low quality? There's a lot of clickbait, content that has, gosh, a really compelling title and a nice image, but you click through and that's a huge waste of your time to read it. There's spam, lots of ads and things of that sort that you're just not interested in. There's fake news, things that's outright incorrect, false information. And there's a lot of things like trolling, which is just, it's so low quality, it's actually negative. It's worse than low quality. It's bad, negative quality content. This is just a snapshot of a number of articles recently about this problem. If you're clued into this subject, you're very much aware that there seems to be something wrong with the quality of content on the internet and the way things are funded. So this is a way of describing how is content on the internet funded today. Ads are really the primary mechanism. We have huge companies like Google and Facebook that are funded almost entirely by ads, mostly by ads, but not the creators. It's those companies that earn most of the money. We also have subscriptions. This is the other common mechanism that people use to earn money on the internet for creating or editing content, publishing content. But there's something missing, though. There's something that has been sort of an idea for quite some time, for decades, but actually has never really been executed on in practice, which is micropayments. So this is what our platform is based on. We use micropayments. We're not based on ads. We're not based on subscriptions. We're based on everything else. And actually, when you work through how this can work, micropayments are extremely powerful. Everything that you can do without micropayments, you can do with, and you can do a whole lot more stuff. If you really want to do ads and subscriptions, you can do ads and subscriptions with micropayments, but you can also do a lot of other things that no one has ever tried before. So just a brief thought on why now. Something has changed. So micropayments have been talked about since the 1990s. There is a HTTP error code 402, if I recall correctly, that's included in HTTP, which says payment required. The thought originally for the web was that, well, people will monetize content by just charging some small amount of money. But for some reason, that didn't happen. And we think the reason why it didn't happen was, first of all, technical. You need Bitcoin or something like it to enable genuine peer-to-peer transactions at low costs on the internet. You also need a little bit more than just Bitcoin, because if all you have is Bitcoin, you really need this economy around Bitcoin. So we use, well, technically we don't use Bitcoin, I'll get to that in a minute, but we use technology that's based on Bitcoin. But also we rely on infrastructure around Bitcoin, including, just for instance, we're integrating with Coinbase right now to do credit card onboarding so that our users will be able to buy cryptocurrency with a credit card. We rely on this infrastructure existing around Bitcoin as well. So you need the technology and you need the economy around it to make this stuff work for real. So let me explain some of our models so that you understand what it is that we've built. So first of all, the purchase model, I explained this earlier. I like to describe our platform as Medium with a paywall. The author can create an article. They can put embedded images, video, audio, whatever they want to inside the article. And they get to choose a paywall, how much they want to charge or whether they want to charge anything, and the location of where that paywall is inside their content. We have another feature that we added fairly recently that is one of my favorite features, because as someone who has a fairly high profile on social media in the blockchain industry, I get trolled by people on a daily basis. And so I don't know where we first had this idea, but we knew that when we're going to add comments, we're going to do it differently than every other social media website, which is we're going to let authors set the price for comments on their article. So we have the only platform that we're aware of in the world, where the authors can set the price for a comment. So currently the default price is 2 cents. If somebody wants to write a comment, they pay you 2 cents. And you can set the price higher if you want to, and I'm going to write some articles in the coming weeks and months that I know are going to be very controversial. And I know that I'll be trolled, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge $1 or maybe $10 for some of them to write a comment on my article, so that's fine if you want to troll me, but you're going to have to pay me if you want to do it. Another model we have is the voting model. This starts to explain why it's not just about getting the creators paid, it's about getting everybody paid for the work that they do. So the way our voting model works is next to every article there's a vote button. It costs 10 cents. The voting button pays 10 cents distributed evenly amongst all earlier voters, and our company always takes the first vote. So this is part of our revenue for the business. The idea here is that why would you pay to upvote something? Well, you might pay to upvote something if you like it, it's good, and you want to improve its visibility. But you're probably more likely to upvote it if you might get paid for doing a good job. So the voting model is a way for people to earn money if they're good at voting on things early. And as co-founder and CEO of the platforms, there are times when I see some actual good piece of content that's published right away because I look at my own thing all of the time. And so I upvote it, and so I've actually earned money this way through our vote model. So this is a way of getting not just creators paid, but also curators, people that discover good content. We have a number of other models coming. So those are the models that we've implemented so far. I'm going to describe a few more that are just interesting, so you get the idea of what we're trying to do here, even though we're not fully finished yet. So one of the models we'll add soon is something we call the affiliate model. And the way this works is, well, if you buy an article, or you pay for it, or something to that effect, and you know it's good, and you want to share this with other people, wouldn't it be interesting if you could share in the revenue that's generated by that article, or video, or image, or whatever it is? So we'll let our users be affiliates and take a percentage of the revenue. And of course, like everything else we do, we're very favorable to market economics, and we'll let our users pick these variables. So the author will set how much are they willing to give away for an affiliate. And then just to convey the point that once you have micropayments, you can do everything else. We currently don't plan to support advertisements, but I'll just explain how it would work if we were to do it and how we would do it differently than everybody else does it. Well, the way ads should work is, if it's your time and attention looking at the ad, shouldn't you be the one paid for looking at the ad? Like if it's your time and it's your data because someone is targeting you with your data, shouldn't you be the one earning money for looking at the ad? Why is Facebook and Google earning all the money for your time, your attention, and your data? So the way we'll do ads is you will earn money by looking at ads. That's how it should be. We can also do subscriptions, of course, but once again, we can do things differently than how things are normally done. Subscriptions don't have to be month by month. It doesn't have to be that you pay some fixed amount every single month. You could do things like streaming video, where it's as though you're subscribing for the length of the video, and you can do that if you have genuine micropayments, which we have. And I just show an example here of, wouldn't it be interesting if you could subscribe on a daily basis or something like that as well. So our technology is based on Bitcoin Cash, and I'll give you a brief story here. Actually, it's hard to see because of the light, but I'm going to poll you guys. How many people know what the difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash is? Okay, I'm going to say probably approximately 50%, maybe higher, actually. That's pretty good. So anyway, my co-founder and I, when we started working on this project, it actually has a very long history, but we started working on it full-time as a business a little over a year and a half ago. And we knew we needed real micropayments to make this possible. So we set out to implement routed micropayment channel technology on Bitcoin because that seemed to be the right way to do it. So we spent something like 15 months of full-time effort implementing routed payment channel technology on Bitcoin. We actually had the first working version of this. We beat the Lightning Network. We like the Lightning Network people a lot, but we did have it working on Bitcoin before they did because we weren't dependent on segregated witness. So we were able to do it on Bitcoin before the Lightning Network. Unfortunately, for our platform, the fees on Bitcoin got so high earlier this year that the cost of onboarding a user became too high, because in order to just open a payment channel, you have to broadcast a few transactions. So at $3 per transaction, which it was in like May, the cost of onboarding a user was like at least $10, and fees are still quite high on Bitcoin, though they're not $3 anymore. It's more like $1 or $2 right now. So we switched from Bitcoin to Litecoin because Litecoin is almost the exact same as Bitcoin technically, has a pretty strong economy, not as strong as Bitcoin, but it solved a bunch of problems for us. We were able to switch from Bitcoin to Litecoin, and Litecoin served our purposes very well during our alpha period from about May to August. But then something else happened, which was Bitcoin Cash launched, which we watched with great interest. And Bitcoin Cash has, as far as we're concerned, a killer feature, which is the fact that on-chain transactions are less than 1 cent. So it's cheaper than Litecoin by something like 10 or 20 times, depending on how you run the numbers. And so what we were able to do was we're actually not using payment channel technology at all. And this is hard to convey in a non-technical way, but I'll just explain it in terms of time. When I say my co-founder and I spent 15 months full-time implementing payment channel technology, I'm not kidding, that's how long it takes, and we weren't done yet either. It's very, very hard to make micropayment channels work well for end users. We weren't done because we had a whole bunch of issues making it actually work as you would expect for an end user. So when we had the opportunity to do on-chain transactions, we decided to go for it, and so all of our payments are on-chain. We archive tens of thousands of lines of code, and we're able to move radically faster now. So we've launched for real now. We've launched what we call our beta. It was about 6 weeks ago, and everything's on-chain Bitcoin Cash transactions. So status is we've launched. We've had over 3,800 payments since late August. The average payment size is about 10 cents. We've had over 40,000 unique visitors to the app. We get about 20 top-level posts of content per day, so articles, primarily articles, but also some videos and images and things like that as well, and about 20 comments per day. And we've earned $200, which by most business standards is not a lot of money, but when you've been working on it for over a year and a half, and finally we have revenue, a real business now, we like to celebrate that. It's business is myself and co-founder Clemens. We've both been in the industry for a long time. We have something like over 10 years of blockchain experience combined between the two of us, and we've been working on this project for over a year and a half. We have a number of innovations. So we do everything differently. So we were on Hacker News a few weeks ago, which is where we got like 500 users from Hacker News because I wrote an article called Why We're Charging 10 Cents to Post Content to Our Platform. So it was originally free because that's how it works normally when you make a content platform. People could just post stuff for free. But then one user spammed our platform by posting the same article hundreds of times. So we thought, okay, let's just run an experiment because since we have payments built into the platform, we can do everything differently. Why don't we just charge 10 cents for people to post content? That might work. So we just turned on the switch and started charging people 10 cents to post content, and it actually worked really well. The amount of content actually slightly increased. The quality went way up because the spam posts went to zero. There's basically no spam on the platform at all now. So we're the only social network that charges micropayments to post content, and it seems to be working. So there's a myth out there that people will say things like, this is one of our top questions, we'll be like, but people are never going to pay for stuff on the internet. That's not true. We've disproven it. People do pay for stuff. They pay to post content. They pay to see the paywall. They pay to vote content. People do pay for things on the internet, and they're doing it on our platform. We're the only social network with a micropayments paywall outside of China. China is a little bit of an unfair comparison because our competitor there is WeChat, and they own a bank. So they're able to do things that almost anybody else can't do, but we think they'll struggle to get outside of China. But they do have a micropayments paywall, but they're the only other one that we're aware of inside of a social product anyway. We are the only social network that rewards people with peer-to-peer micropayments, and I can explain subtle details if you want to argue the point, but for not just creating content, but also curating, discovering, moderating, editing. In the future, we're going to have lots of other ways, basically not just creators, but everybody involved in creating good content. You don't have to be the creator yourself, but if you're helping in some way, you should also be paid for your work. We're also unique in that we're not doing an ICO. We are a normal business, and there's not enough time in this talk to explain all the reasons about why we aren't doing an ICO, but we're not. We're a normal business. If we ever do an ICO in the future, it will be when we go public, and we'll just go public on the blockchain, but we'll do so legally. Not that all ICOs are legal. Some of them aren't, And to conclude, I'm just going to show you guys a few examples of some of the content that people have created on our platform. So Heidi Hecht, I recently declared her to be our top user because she's used like every feature we have to create these epic pieces of content that do things like embedded video, embedded images, before and after the paywall. She wrote an entire book, and she's like, hey, I'm trying to write this really, really long article, and it doesn't work. So we investigated and figured out that she was reaching the limit of like just a piece of our software that something was set to the default limit. We bumped up that it was the size of JSON that was being posted to our app. So we bumped up this limit so that she could publish an entire book on the platform. So we've had one whole book in a single post, and she's done a number of other interviews and articles and things that are really good. Because we use Bitcoin Cash, well, that's probably not the only reason, but certainly it doesn't hurt. We've drawn the interest of the Bitcoin Cash community. So we've had many of them, sort of the most important writers and developers in the Bitcoin Cash space contribute content that's really good about Bitcoin Cash and about solving problems in Bitcoin Cash that are relevant to our business and to the Bitcoin Cash world. So we have a lot of stuff about Bitcoin Cash on the platform. We've had a number of like ongoing stories where people write good stories and they write it chapter at a time so that you can follow along and read the full story as you go. We have a number of people writing daily cryptocurrency updates. The Daily Dimes is the best because he publishes every single day today's cryptocurrency news. So this actually, for me, has taken over. It's frankly my primary source of news about anything crypto that isn't Bitcoin Cash I get from him. We also have content in different languages. So we have people writing regularly in Chinese and Spanish, and we've had other things like Russian and a few other languages as well. I didn't show any examples of this, but we do also have video, audio, imagery and things of that sort. And finally, we have art. So I like William R. Bullock, who's someone who just creates these very interesting just artwork that's very interesting. And it's worth, in this particular case, he charges 10 cents to see it, and I actually buy his stuff because it's actually really good. So that's it for my presentation. I don't know if I have time for questions. I'm going to say unless there was something very compelling, but if anybody does have questions.